Hello, welcome back to another video. My name is Farhan, also known as Gunner since 96, and I'm here recording a very special video with a very special guest. I've got Ryan Williams, a massive Gooner, and a new friend. We only just met like 2 minutes ago. Otherwise, I've been watching his videos. He's been watching mine. He makes some really good content, and we were just talking about being organic and just going with the flow. One of the things that he does really well, he just goes with the flow and he just speaks his mind. That's what I love about him. Ryan, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate the time that you've taken out. Um, Tell the people, man, who you are, what you do, and where they can find you as well.
Well, thank you, bro, for the invitation. I appreciate it, man. I love linking up with everybody on YouTube. Of course, I've checked out your content before. I hit your comment section before, but I'm appreciated to be on the show. Like, thanks again, man. Well, I'm just an Arsenal fan, man. It's just like to voice my opinions, and I thought about was it 2.5 years ago, maybe three now. I just thought, well, everyone's making content about Arsenal. Instead of just shouting at the TV and disagreeing with some people and agreeing with it, thought, let me do my own stuff, And guys, want to check me out down below. My Twitter's there at RJ Wills, and of course my YouTube channel, Ryan Williams AFC. Let me know what you guys think about content. I love to debate. That's all I gotta
Yeah,
say.
man, you've been making content for a while, like two and a half years, like you say. Honestly, I can only appreciate the amount of time that you've been making content, because it's not easy, man. It's not it's not easy to stay motivated. But the one thing that I've realized in this whole like YouTube journey, because I started making videos like 4 maybe 5 years ago, and it's a completely different channel. But one thing that used to really bug me was how like how much I would be invested in like views and subscribers and all that. But ever since I've been making Arsenal content, it's not something that I look at. It's just I just get a thrill out of just talking about Arsenal, and especially meeting new fans as well. That's something that I've realized, which has been probably the number one benefit about making videos about Arsenal. It's just meeting like-minded fans and talking, discussing the club that we love and all the issues surrounding it. And we're here today. We're going to talk about Arsenal, and we're going to talk about the North London derby, the amazing result that we got from it, and obviously, and obviously, the last 10 games as well. This video specifically is about our ambitions in the Premier League and how far we can climb up that table. So, yeah, it's going to be a very unstructured one. We're going to try and maybe take it one game at a time or 3-4 games at a time. Liverpool are playing right now, funnily enough, against Wolves. So, but at the time of recording, but by the time you guys are watching it, the results would have been out. So I'm going to keep one eye on that. But tell me, yesterday, Arsenal 2, Tottenham 1. uh, an amazing result. Like Arteta, the way that he set up Arsenal yesterday was fantastic. Was perfect to the T. Mourinho had no. I think he was shell shocked. I think at full time you could see his face. It looked as white as a ghost. He didn't see it coming, did he?
No, I mean, when you kind of look at it, I mean, let's be real. When you look at the last two times Arteta has played Jose, it's been a little bit naive. I mean, all right, cool. The first one where we played them at last season at the lane or whatever the hell they call the toilet bowl now.
Toilet bowl, yeah.
Um, yeah, like let's be honest, it was a mistake. We got in the lead very quickly. It was a mistake, and we just fell into the trap after Kolasinac did what he did and Song was put through, and then the game fell into Jose's hands. And then, of course, this season when we went to the toilet bowl, I mean, it was pretty damning for us. We weren't exactly playing the best football at that time, and Jose knows how to beat Arsenal. He's got a very, very good record against Arsenal, and you know when you look at it, Arteta is still learning on the job. Kind of fell into that trap again, and players were exposed this right and center. And funny enough, the two players that I felt cost us the goals as well as the rest of the team in that game were nowhere to be seen in the team sheet. So I feel what I feel was different was the fact that Jose try to do what we saw Leicester did earlier this season and what a lot of teams did this season in terms of sitting back and just waiting for Arsenal to create the mistake that Arsenal usually do. And what I have to say was very, very disciplined from Arsenal was the fact that they didn't allow any mistakes. Well, we did have a shaky last 15 minutes, but throughout the 75 minutes beforehand, we didn't allow anything. We were unlucky to get to concede the goal. But Jose, I mean, it was beautiful to see him like an upset and moaning. I mean, come on, man. We seen this guy time in, time out. What did he say earlier in the week? We only look up.
Yeah, we only look up, we don't look down. He's trying to have slide digs. He's always trying to have slide digs at us, whether it be Wenger, whether it be Emery, and he got what was coming to him.
About time too. I was worried they'd get the double over us. I did have a feeling, and I said in my preview, I'm gonna go with a 2-1. Luckily, I was right because I know we concede. What a goal it was. As much as it hurts me to say that, it was a fantastic goal by Lamela, but I'm glad he got sent off because he was peeing me off for the whole game. And I knew what Jose was trying to do there. Let me quickly get that point in because we saw it with the Man United game where he got Martial sent off, and I feel a lot of Martial fans were probably like happy with the fact the way Lamela got sent because he always gets away with it. And I felt Jose put him on instead of either Ali earlier, which I was surprised about. I thought he would have moved Mora out wide and then Ali in the middle, right? After Son's injury. But he brought on Lamela, and we know Lamela can try get in your head, and he only aimed for two players, two red card roulette type players in Luiz and Xhaka. And I have to say, I'm very, very happy with their performances yesterday. They didn't let their heads drop or let Lamela get into their head. So I was happy with that. And Lamela got what was coming to him. So I don't want to hear no Spurs fan talking S about Lamela. Oh, he didn't get sent off. He knew what he was doing. You guys know what he was doing. All right? You sent him to do a job and it backfired, innit? So, yeah.
Yeah, I was a bit worried when Lamela came on because I think instantly in like the first 2 minutes he had a little scuff with Xhaka and there was a few words that were exchanged and I thought, I was praying, I was screaming to the TV, don't get dragged into it, because we know what Xhaka's like. But thankfully he kept a cool head. He gave off a sly little grin and got on with his game, and I think he was excellent. If there's one thing that I learned about that game, and I said it before the game started. This was always going to be the type of game where us fans were going to see how far Arsenal have come in this new era with Arteta, because this was probably our first true test, proper big test since Boxing Day. I can't remember a bigger game, a bigger occasion than this. I think maybe Benfica away in the second leg. Maybe that was a test of character. But maybe for me,
as well. I guess.
Did we play United afterwards?
I'm not sure if we did. I remember we played them at home.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when was that again. But even
you're right.
I think we should have won.
No, you're right. You're right. No, you're right. You're right. We did play United, but I just can't remember that game. But regardless, so it's a North London derby. This was always going to be the big one, and I was really happy and I was really relieved that we got the result. But not only did we get the result, we got the performance. Arteta set the boys up for me perfectly. I felt like the starting 11 was strong. I'm kind of glad whatever happened to Aubameyang happened because it meant that Lacazette was playing, and I preferred Lacazette to play up front in the system that they played in against that back line, against that woeful, shambolic back line that Spurs had. But look, what do you think about Arteta? Because, he's coming to the job. We're nearing the end of the season now. We all knew, or I certainly knew, what to expect. This is a rookie manager. This is his first ever job. He is not going to he's not going to come into the job and be the finished article. You can't make any complaints after the appointment has been made. After the appointment's been made, it's now time for the fan base to accept the reality, which is the club has gone for a direction which is away from experience, which is away from someone who's decorated and towards someone who's new. and someone who has a lot of potential. He had a rocky start. He then picked it back up again on Boxing Day. It didn't quite go upwards like the way we would have wanted. Some dodgy results in the middle, and finally it looks like we're back on the up. What do you think of Arteta?
Well, it's tough because ultimately, in the beginning, me personally, when Wenger went, I was screaming Brendan Rodgers. He was probably one of the managers I really wanted, because no matter what happened with that Liverpool season, and Celtic, I thought this is someone we can use. And you've seen that with the way Leicester have been in the last few seasons since he's been there. I mean, Leicester, since he's been there. The development of Harvey Barnes and the way he's got Vardy playing, etc., etc. When Arteta came in, and I was not happy, because I felt this should have been an experienced manager to come in, and because this was a huge, huge job. And I felt we need someone to take this board, this club, this ownership, and the team by the scruff of the neck and show them, listen, this is how we're going to do things. If you don't accept it, clear off, And, the way the season ended last season, I was a bit eighth, not really happy. I felt if we'd have beaten Villa, they would have been relegated, and maybe we could have been higher in the table, potentially. But we won the FA Cup, which I felt, regardless, that FA Cup run was fantastic, and credit to him with that. But it kind of papered over the cracks a little bit. And then this season, I felt the board should have done more to back him, And I mean, he kind of led me on the outside, because there was a lot of things I felt that was just so frustrating. Your emotions take over, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, he's still got, listen, as long as he's here, he's got enough time to string me back on Mikel Arteta inside or whatever, Like, I'm sitting on the fence at the minute, because I can see some things that are like, okay, this is good. And I know it's not as rushed and forward as we all would like to see. And, we look at teams like Chelsea, they changed their manager, and Tuchel's got them flying up. But they got that, Frank Lampard got the backing that Mikel Arteta could have or should have had, And then maybe, potentially, we might have seen things better. But, I mean, he's done things well, but there's a lot of things I feel he needs to improve on. I think the whole rookie thing, it's just one of these things where, all right, this is the situation. There's a lot of players that still need to go. I'm glad he got rid of the likes of Ozil or Team Ozil. I'm not going to go through all of them, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But but at the end of the day, I see little things changes. He just needs to improve on his man management. And I was very, very impressed with the way he dealt with the Aubameyang situation yesterday. I'm sure we're going to touch into that in a little bit. I'm not going to talk too much about it. But
No, please do. We might as well get into that.
Cool. Well, let's just get into that now then. I mean, Aubameyang, listen, I've said it before, I said it again. Listen, he's a good player, right? He's a very good player, very good striker, or finisher, in fact. But I do not think he is captain material, because he's one of these guys I feel a captain needs to talk to him rather than him talk to be the captain. He doesn't have the leadership qualities that I feel a lot of us Arsenal fans, or even fans in general, whatever club, if Aubameyang was at another club, would want. Let's be honest. I think, you got a baker cake, he's the cherry on the top of the icing, right? But he hasn't got those ingredients to say he's a captain. He's the solid base around to manage this team. When people's heads drop, I don't think he's the player to come to. You know what I'm saying? He might help the youngsters in terms of the ones that want to finish their end product, like a Saka that leaned on him. We've seen Ainsley Maitland-Niles lean on him a few times, but in terms of captaincy, like a Vieira or Tony Adams that we've seen in the past, in terms of leadership skills, he ain't got it. And what he did yesterday didn't justify on why he's a captain. I'm sorry. This is the biggest game for this club, yeah? Okay, it's not exactly the Champions League final or Europa League final. Imagine if it was the Europa League final and you're late. And apparently this ain't the first time. I
Mm,
mean, I'm sorry, that's not acceptable at Arsenal Football Club. This is Tottenham. They are arch rivals and you're late.
mm,
That's unacceptable. I'm sorry, I'm not happy with that. And if that continues, then listen, man, you have to give that band up. I'm sorry, it's
mm,
not good
mm.
enough. And I've
Yeah.
actually backed Aubameyang this season. You know, with the whole contract signing, I thought 3 years was a little bit much. I thought maybe 2 years at least. You know, but
Mm,
with a probably an option to sign on, and then maybe if it don't work out, we were able to sell him and get some money. The money's another issue, but hey, in terms of
mm,
contract and
mm,
wages, but I'm sorry, I am not happy with that. And then there's obviously more news that's come out about the issue still not resolved. And most of the
mm,
players were happy with the fact how Mikel Arteta dealt with Aubameyang. And listen, you can't be acting up. We already saw what happened with Guendouzi.
mm,
People forget. AZ Maitland-Niles, he was dropped,
mm,
before the whole loan situation. And last season, he kept messing about. He was late to training.
mm,
It's not
mm,
acceptable. And those are the few things about Mikel Arteta I'm happy about, because he's not letting you get away with it. And of course, if Tottenham would have won yesterday, people still would have been on Arteta's case. And I don't agree with, we should have just let Aubameyang play, whatever. Like, I'm sorry. What does that say about the manager if you just let a player that has disciplinary issues clearly, and even Dortmund had this situation with him on the last year he was there, right? Because
mm.
there's even an article about that, you know. And Dortmund fans were telling us to beware of him as well. Not all of them, but some of them were. Funny enough, we were like, no, whatever, man. We didn't see that, and then now we're seeing this. It's like, what a joke. But all in
Mm.
all, the manager can't fold. I applaud him for that, because I don't care. No player is bigger than the club. The club was here before your parents even met. Like that.
Mm-mm.
So he made the right decision. What about you, man?
Yeah, no, listen, I agree. I agree. This is it's a bit of a sticky situation, and I was hoping this issue would be resolved. But you could sort of tell that Aubameyang wasn't happy yesterday. He's sitting on the bench, and then after the game, he zoomed off. Usually, they have a warm down, the guys on the bench, but he didn't. He didn't have that warm down. Instead, he got in his car and revved off. But yeah, I definitely applaud Arteta for doing what he did, and I think he needed to in order to send a message out there to the club, but also to everyone, to the fans as well. It was a
I,
clear message to the fans. I mean, I don't think there, because I can't find another explanation for why you would make it public knowledge. You don't need to. You can keep it in house. You can say, "Oh, it's just a tactical issue that we're playing Lacazette because he's more mobile," or you can make anything up. But he made a tactical decision to let everyone know that the reason why Aubameyang is not playing is because of disciplinary issues. And the moment that the news came out, and this was before even
mm,
Arteta's interview on Sky, this
mm,
was, I don't know who it was on commentary that announced it, but Twitter went crazy. Disciplinary issue. What's going on? What's going
mm,
on? I was the same as well. But I genuinely do believe now that the reason why Arteta released that news and chose to make it public knowledge is to let the fans know that this is Arsenal Football Club, and this is the way we're running things. We are running things properly around here. And I have, and one of the biggest. I mean, I'm the same as you. When he was announced, I was shocked, and I was raging. Like,
mm.
how can you appoint a novice? How can you appoint someone who's got no experience to manage Arsenal Football Club? Is this what we've become now? But the moment that he gave his first interview, I knew this guy was a no nonsense manager, and I knew this guy was going to be a coach that was going to have um, discipline, and that was going to have, I'm trying to think of another word for policies, but things in place to make sure that the club is run properly, and he's doing that. And he's saying to Aubameyang, "Look, you've been late more than once. I'm sorry. This is the line now. I'm drawing the line here. You're not playing in the North London derby." And can you imagine being told you're not going to play in the North London derby? That is a big deal. That's a big deal.
I
If
don't
it's
know why you're late though. This is the
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
This
but that's what
game,
I'm saying.
should have been on your head from last night.
Mm,
Last night. Oh, even
mm,
after the Olympiacos game, it's like, all right, cool. Tottenham, we need to deal with them. They got our blood on their hands. They've had it for a while now. Okay, we haven't beaten them at the Emirates in 2 seasons, so we need to sort it out. Okay, that's the
mm,
captain, and he's late, and it's been more than once. And
mm,
you know what? The maddest thing is, I feel Arteta couldn't, because everybody knew it, right? So
mm,
Arteta couldn't hide it after the game, after in the post-match interview. He couldn't hide it anymore. He just had to, say it how it is, like you said. It's unacceptable,
mm,
and this is one of the things that annoyed me with Arteta was the fact that, when you look at, and this happened like a few fixtures ago, Xhaka makes a mistake at Burnley, but he never got dropped. The
mm, mm,
same
mm.
Ceballos made a few mistakes at Benfica, which led to goal, and then, it wasn't really balanced enough for me, so it's like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
kind
it
of got
does.
your
It does.
favourite team. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
no, I
now
was
when you
gonna say
see
it does.
Bellerin kind of get dashed out the squad a bit, it's like,
Mm,
okay, are you seeing the light with Cedric? And are you going to play Chambers on Thursday? Or are we going to see
mm,
Bellerin again? So I don't know.
yeah,
With all the Bellerin rumours, we don't know, right? Because
yeah, yeah,
apparently he told him wants to leave. So we don't know. We don't know. But I applaud
yeah.
Mikel Arteta with that Aubameyang thing. 100%.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens on Thursday. I think the Thursday team lineup will show us a lot about the character of Mikel because
Mm,
inevitably you now have the warrant, you now have the permit to make massive changes because you're 3-1 up, you got 3 away goals. So now we see who you really value in the squad and who you don't, who you really rate and who you don't. Because
mm,
if you're gonna start players like Bellerin, then you're telling me that you have favorites. If you're gonna pick players like and Shaka's been amazing. He's been really, really good this season, bar some, episodes. But if you're gonna pick players like Shaka over Ceballos in the second leg, you're letting me know that you have favorites. Same with Pepe as well. Same with
yeah,
Martinelli. Obviously, there are questions.
mm,
I mean, this whole issue of Martinelli, and maybe we should talk about it because a few fans were talking about it yesterday, and I know your stance on it, but it's interesting. It'll be interesting to hear you expand on it.
yeah, no
This whole
problem.
Martinelli issue, right? The whole fan base are going crazy for a 19-year-old kid to be started. And there's another thing I really rate about Arteta, his ability to know how to treat each player and his ability to set out the right developmental path for these young players. He knows when they're ready and when they're not. He knows when they're able to take the pressure of playing first team football. Bukayo Saka and Emil Smith Rowe are the perfect examples of players that have come through the under 23s and have fit perfectly into the mold of the first team. Arteta, I mean, okay, let's have it right. It was Unai Emery who gave them their starts, but it was Arteta that progressed these guys and got them to the level that they're at now. The
Yeah,
reason
next level,
why,
yeah. Mm,
yeah, the next level exactly, and the reason why, Reece Nelson, the reason why, Gabby Martinelli, the reason why, even Joe Willock aren't in the squad is because they're not good enough to play first team football. What would you say to the people that are screaming for Martinelli's name and for him to be at least brought on as a sub?
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. At first, I was like a little bit frustrated. Then I kind of thought about, well, maybe he's protecting him, because let's be honest. Listen, Martinelli is a fantastic player and he has a bright future at Arsenal. I don't believe for 1 second Mikel Arteta is thought about getting rid of him, right? I just feel that it's one of them ones where a lot of people are annoyed because Willian hasn't really been playing very well since, the Fulham game. And then only recently, he started to kind of step up a bit, which is kind of what even though we didn't really want Willian, I know a lot of us didn't, if you're going to come in, you need to do something, so that's that. Um, I just feel like with Martinelli, we gotta remember, yeah. In the same way I look at Partey and Tierney, but it's a little bit different with Martinelli because Martinelli has had a very serious knee injury, right?
Yeah.
And it's still troubling him as well. So my question to people that scream Martinelli and that, so what happens if Mikel plays him for a couple of games, and then he goes down with a bad knee, and then he's out for a lot longer.
Or worse,
Are
he
we gonna
doesn't
scream at
perform.
Arteta again? Are we gonna scream at Arteta again? This is what I want to know, because the same could be said for Partey, because Partey did kind of get rushed back with Partey. That mistake has
Yeah,
happened.
against
We've
the
seen
first North
Partey's
London
fitness.
derby.
That's his fitness has been awful this season, and there's obviously things that's kind of factored in that, in terms of we ain't had no preseason with him, etc., etc. But with Martinelli, I feel he's a young kid. He's got plenty of time, to come in, and it's all right saying we need Martinelli now, now, now. But
Mm,
I mean, come on, man. It's just we need to be calm about the situation. When he will come back. He will
mm,
come back. I just don't want the fan base screaming their heads off like he's a prime Thierry Henry. He's getting
yeah,
benched. Like,
yeah.
no, I'm being real. Listen, I love Martinelli. I love this kid. This
Mm,
kid excites me when he comes on the pitch. But at the same time, he's still raw. He's hungry. Yes, we know he needs some game time to get fitness, but we don't know the depths and the lengths of that knee injury,
mm,
because let's be real, when he came back, yeah, he probably had what, 1 or 2 games where he looked impressive, and then the
mm,
others he didn't really look all that great. I mean, the Southampton game in the FA Cup, he didn't look
mm.
great,
Yeah,
but not many people are going to talk about that.
yeah, yeah.
The game against Man United in the first half, he made a very vital, I think it was a challenge. I think it was Rashford.
Mm,
I can't remember. Was it Rashford? But and then after that, he got subbed off, and since then we haven't seen him. There's been reports that his knee's been bothering him, and there's reports saying he didn't make the bench yesterday because he had family issues. But all in all, I think we should just need to keep our calls cool, and just respect the decision and see where it goes from here. But I don't think Martinelli's going to be sold. I just
mm,
think we're screaming our heads off because he's someone that can kind of light it up and give us something different. It's the same people that were screaming why Pepe getting consistent games. It's the
mm,
same thing. You know, if Willian wasn't here, then I'd probably raise the argument. But because we got options there, even Smith Rowe, even I was kind of like, what Smith Rowe on the left and
mm.
Odegaard, I was a little, oh, but we saw that. We saw that before
Yeah, yeah.
with I think it was an Olympiacos game as well. Actually, we
Mm,
saw that, and it was all right. And then the North London derby, it's okay.
mm,
So I just feel we just need to relax on the situation. When more news comes out about this, then we can kind of okay, raise above it or just talk about it.
mm,
That's all I've got to say on the Martinelli thing. Let's just relax. All right.
mm, mm. Yeah,
What about
man.
yourself?
I repeat exactly what you said. Now let's get into this the sticky business of the Premier League, because we got our 3 points yesterday, and those 3 points in the grand scheme of things are pretty big, because if you look at the league table, I'm going to put it up now. The league table, and this is it's usually right in any season. A league table does tell the story of how a club has been performing throughout the course of the league season. But our league season has been so different to most clubs in the Premier League, and the fact that we've got COVID going on in the midst of it, the fact that there hasn't been any preseason, all these different factors have come together and have now created a massive mess of a league table. Leicester City
Mm-hmm.
are third. West Ham are pushing for Champions League spot. Liverpool are eighth. Okay, look, we currently have four. Where are the points? 41 points. Level on points with Villa, who have a game in hand.
Yeah.
Liverpool are currently playing now, but we are only 4 points behind Spurs. And we are, I mean, let's not look at top four now, because we're obviously going to go through the last 10 games. But having a look at the league table now,
Mm.
just before we get into the last 10 games, what are the chances that Arsenal could sneak in top four? Because we play just, and I'm not going to go into the exact games that we're going to play because we're going to go into it, but just to break
Yeah,
it down for you, the five of the 10 games that we play are against teams above us, and the
yeah,
other five are against the teams below us, like in the
yeah.
relegation zone kind of area. So bearing that in mind, what are the chances that Arsenal could potentially creep into top four?
I don't know. It's I don't know. I think it's quite
Is there a
slim.
chance? Do Arsenal? Or are we just? Is this just wishful thinking?
I think it's more wishful thinking, and I'm
Mm,
gonna say why because we still have that inconsistency about us. There's
mm,
still tough opposition that we need to sort out. I mean, we got Liverpool after West Ham,
mm,
I'm going to talk about West Ham in a second. I mean, the next two games are
mm,
so vital. I mean,
mm,
Liverpool, we know, they haven't exactly been great in the last few months. I mean, injuries and they haven't really been playing well. So I mean, it
They're
is
missing their
probably a
fans.
good time to play them. However,
Yeah.
they still got Mane, they still got Salah. Jota's back now. I mean, it can be a problem. So
Mm,
I'm not going to write off Liverpool anymore. West Ham again, they might have lost yesterday to Manchester United. Vieira own goal, but they're still a tough opposition. I mean, they're
mm,
not fifth for no reason, for crying out loud. Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So, and then obviously we got other teams like Brighton, Palace, who we never seem to beat anymore.
Mm,
Oh
mm,
dear. And I mean, it's still tough. I think if anything, the closest we can get when I look on the points, how are we? We are 4 points behind Spurs, which is actually the last Europa League spot, depending on who wins the Europa League, whether it's us, United, or Tottenham. I mean, we've got more chance of trying to get seventh than top four, I think, if I'm honest. I think we've dropped too many points. But
mm,
again, we have to rely on the fact of going on a run, and that's including beating Chelsea and
mm,
Liverpool in that run, because those are probably two of the bigger teams we got to face in that run, as well as West Ham next. I'm not overlooking any of them games. We still got Everton too. I'm
mm,
kind of glad we're done with Villa, but we also got to remember we go on a run, and we got to hope for the teams above us to start dropping points. I mean,
mm.
I don't think Tottenham have got any other top six clubs to play anymore. I think
They got
that's
Villa
about it
next
for
week.
them. Sorry?
They got Villa next week.
Okay, yeah, but Grealish is out, and Villa kind of ain't really been playing well without him.
Mm, mm,
So that I think Tottenham might get bounced back on that one, unfortunately.
mm.
Liverpool, well, I don't know what the score is right now,
It's nil
but
nil.
it's 0-0.
Mm,
Well, if Wolves can nick it, then that would be perfect. But
mm,
then but
mm,
again, it's just tough because we got to rely on the teams above us to drop points, and then we have to make up on the points. I mean, if we'd have beaten Burnley,
yeah.
then we'd have been ninth, just behind
Mm,
Liverpool. Potentially, if we'd
yeah.
have
Yeah.
gotten better goals, then we could have been in front of Liverpool, just
Mm.
behind Tottenham. So I don't know, man. I think it's a bit of a long shot, but I think the most we could probably get maybe seventh, but I'm leaning on that only because of the other teams. If we can go on a good run, then I don't see
Hmm.
why not. Mathematically, we're still kind of in it, but it's
Listen,
gonna take a
mathematically,
lot.
we can still win the league. Just
Oh
in
dear,
goal
yeah,
difference. Let
yeah.
me give you my theory, yeah.
Right.
Let me try and break this down and let me try and make sense of it because I know it's
Okay.
mad and it's crazy that I even mention top four and Arsenal potentially finishing top four. Okay, but I'm gonna try and break this down as simply as I can and try and make
Please,
sense of it.
please,
Try and
because I
make it
wrote off top four. Sorry, I wrote top four off in like
weeks ago.
not even weeks ago. I started the season, and the only reason I did that is
Mm,
because we didn't do enough in the
mm,
transfer window in terms of getting a number 10. If Mesut Ozil wasn't part of the plans, and obviously we were unsuccessful of shifting him off and not, and we're not unregistered him, then why didn't we go and try and get Odegaard then on loan?
mm,
I know Smith
mhm,
Rowe, he had injury issues, so we're not gonna talk about that, you
Mm,
know. So
mm.
that was, and then as you can see, since Smith Rowe's come in the team and Odegaard has come in, you know, we've got a
Yeah.
lot better. Creativity's got higher, but yeah, I just think that the transfer window was enough to say, yeah, we're probably gonna finish. Well, I'd hope to finish a lot higher, but realistically around the sixth, seventh mark.
Mm, mm.
But even that looks hard to get. That's why I'm saying seventh probably. But go with your point. Sorry,
All right.
man.
All right, so my theory. This is my theory. This is how I am predicting the next 10 games and
Right.
how the rest of the season will pan out. Okay, we've seen Arsenal improve under Arteta. We can agree with that at most, right? Arsenal have improved under Arteta. The results might not show it, the league table might not show it, but Arsenal's performances have improved drastically since Boxing Day. We know that due to the number of errors and due to the number of goals that we have personally given our opponents, and due to
Mm-hmm.
the number of disciplinary issues on pitch, it has
Yep.
resulted and it has cost us a number of points. Now, if we had not given those goals away and those red cards and those mistakes away, we'd be sitting a lot higher up on the table than we are. Okay, so looking at the league table now, it doesn't reflect fairly on how this season's gone for us. What I've seen Arsenal of late do, ever since the Benfica game, is that their character and their not discipline, but the mentality of the squad and the mentality of the club has seemed to swayed away from the fragile Arsene Wenger era type of mentality where they feel sorry for themselves, heads drop, and we get absolutely plastered. I think in order to see Arsenal at their best, we needed to concede the goals that we conceded. We needed to have gone through those moments because yesterday, when Tottenham scored their first goal, what
Mm-hmm.
I expected was for Arsenal to drop their heads, but what I got was an Arsenal squad that picked themselves up, and dominated the rest of the game,
Mm-hmm.
bar the last 10, 15 minutes, and grinded out a result. So just on the performances that I'm looking at and just on the trend that I'm seeing, an Arsenal side that are just getting better and better and better every single game. And historically speaking, Arsenal perform better in at the end of the season in the
Yeah.
last sort of 10 games or so.
Yeah.
My prediction is that it is Arsenal's to lose because ever since Chelsea, we have given our opposition the goals and we have given games away. In all the games following the Chelsea game, I'd say maybe after the Brighton game, because I felt like the Brighton game was a little bit cautious, too cautious. But ever since December, Arsenal have been the better side in the majority of the games that they played. Okay, now let's have a look at who's fourth right now. Chelsea sit fourth and they have 51 points.
Mm-hmm.
They have played 29 games, which means they've got 9 more games to play. They sit on 51 points. Now, if we look at the season and the way it's panned out, and if we look at the number of points that teams have dropped, Chelsea have lost. How many games have they lost? Right, let me just pull out the big um
Six.
the actual website. So Chelsea have lost 6. Okay, Chelsea have lost 6 games, and they are more likely to lose some of their last 9 games than to win them. Can we agree on that? Can we agree that the way that the season's panned out, teams above us it's likely that they will lose games, right?
Yeah, potentially.
Okay,
Potentially. I
so
mean,
potentially,
go
right.
on, go
So
on.
if they've got 51 points in your head, tell me how many points will secure a fourth place by the end of the season? 9 games left for Chelsea, which means they have a maximum of 27 points that they can take. Out of those 27 points, how many points do you think they'll take? And how many points do you think they'll have in order to finish in that fourth spot?
We need to see their fixtures. That's the only way.
All
I
right,
mean,
cool. Let me pull up their
let's
fixtures.
go. Yeah,
But
pull
this,
up their
but this
fixtures.
is
Let's
this
know
is
where we
one
can
of
go.
this is one of like 4 or 5 teams who could potentially finish in fourth place, right?
Yeah.
Um, let me pull up there, but let's just use Chelsea as an example because they currently sit fourth. We
Mhm.
obviously need to do the same for Tottenham, Liverpool, Villa, and Everton, and etc. etc. But just for the sake of argument, let Chelsea as their example for now. I'm just gonna pull up the screen, and let me just let me continue on with my sort of theory so that I can try and break it down. But pulling up Chelsea's screen. Okay, can you see the Chelsea fixtures? Yeah. So Chelsea are still in the Champions League. They're still in the FA Cup, which means that their squad rotation, the ability to rotate correctly, is going to be something which the manager's going to have to deal with. Players potentially getting injured as well. But their last 9 games, they've got West Brom, Palace, Brighton, West Ham, Fulham, City, Arsenal, Leicester, and Villa. The first few games, West Brom, Crystal Palace, Brighton. Those are 9 pointers for them.
There's
They have
9 points for me. Yeah.
yeah.
But
West Ham, Fulham, City, Arsenal, Leicester, and Villa. Those are tricky games. You agree with that, yeah?
Yeah, 100%.
So looking at those fixtures, I am making a rough prediction, a rough average that in order to finish fourth, let's go back to the league table, just so we get a rough idea and just so we can see how many points Chelsea have. Bear with. There you go. Chelsea have 51 points. I make a rough prediction that in order to finish fourth, a team is going to need 65 points. 65 points to secure fourth place. What do you say to that? Do you think it's too less, or do you think they'll be finishing with more points?
It's tough. I mean, I can't see them beating City. I don't know about that. Most of those games, probably barring 3, I'd say they'll drop points. Probably say three of those games they'll drop points. The rest I see them probably winning. But this is a crazy league. So
all right, so that's 18 points, yeah? 18 points. 18 points out of a maximum of 27 or whatever. Let's just say 18 points, right? 18 plus 51 gives you 18 plus 51. This is all hypothetical, by the way, yeah?
Yeah.
18 plus 51 gives you 69 points, okay?
Yeah.
69 points. They might get a couple of draws. It's possible that they will get a couple of draws. So I'm not far off. 69, 65, somewhere along that range, right?
Right.
Okay. Arsenal currently have 41 points. They have 10 games to go with 30 points. If they pick up maximum points, 41 plus 30, it gives them 71 points. But we know, it's totally unrealistic that Arsenal will go on a winning run to win 10 games. Let's have a look at who Arsenal play in the last 10 games. This will give us a better indication of what the likelihoods of getting 65 to 69 points, right?
Yeah.
Because we've come to a reasonable conclusion that the team to finish fourth will pick up somewhere along 65 to 69 points. So Arsenal, sorry, I haven't actually linked the screen for you. Let me just do that now. No. Okay. Arsenal's next 5 fixtures. Let's talk about the next 5 fixtures. Okay. They got West Ham, Liverpool, Sheffield United, Fulham, and Everton. What did I say? I said Arsenal have got 10 points. Arsenal have 10 games to go, and a maximum of 30 points. But in order to finish fourth, they're going to need 65 to 69 points. So how many games do they need to win in their last 10 games in order to get that fourth place? If my maths is right, they need to win 8 out of 10 games, because 8 times 3 is 24 points. 24 points, right? And if they currently have 41 points, 41 plus 24 is 65. Yeah?
Yeah.
So Arsenal need to win more or less 8 games out of 10, out of their last 10, in order to push for that top 4. They might not get 4th, they might get 5th, but at least they're going to push as hard as possible. The next 5 games, they've got West Ham, Liverpool, Sheffield United, Fulham, and Everton. Talk to me.
I see where you're going with this. It's going to be tough, to get them points. I mean, when you look at the fixtures, I've heard a lot of people say, when we compare Arsenal's squad to West Ham's squad, who's got the better squads, But it's like, ultimately, what are West Ham doing that we aren't? You know what I mean? So I mean, West Ham, I think we can beat them, but will we? That's the question. So that's going to be tough. Again, like I talked about Liverpool, we have to stop their forwards. If we don't stop their forwards, we won't win the
Mm.
game. Who's after Liverpool? Sheffield United. That's 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
That's 3 points. I'm not a bit disrespectful. That's 3 points.
Mm.
Fulham now. That'll be a tough game, but I believe we'll win that.
Mm.
Everton. Oh God. I mean, they're inconsistent at times. I mean, they did beat us at their ground not too long ago. However, you know, I just think if they don't have certain players, if we can stop Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison, I think we got a chance of beating them. So that one's a questionable one. I think that might be. Where are we at home? We're at home, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
We're
home
home against Fulham, against Everton. We're home against Liverpool as well, and we're away at West Ham and Sheffield United.
Ooh, I'm not sure, you know. I mean, the only team I see us dropping points realistically out of those teams is probably maybe Liverpool.
Mm.
Maybe.
And obviously, we haven't considered the Europa League tie as well, because we could easily draw someone like United or Tottenham, and obviously that would mean that Mikel would need to rotate his squads. But he's rotating his squads in the middle of. So you play Liverpool on the 3rd, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You got 5 days to rest, which is more than enough time to play the first leg, and then you have Sheffield United, and then you have the second leg.
Yeah.
So you don't really have it's not as if we're playing Chelsea or Everton in the middle of the Europa League quarterfinal legs. He shouldn't need to rotate too heavily against teams like Sheffield United and Fulham. But so you're telling me that the team that we're most likely to drop points against is Liverpool.
Liverpool, maybe West Ham. Everton, I don't know. That one's probably the hardest one because, again, I know how inconsistent we can be, but I know how inconsistent Everton can be also. So, I mean, those are probably the only games I can see us. Out of all those pictures you just showed me, those are the only games I can see us potentially dropping points.
Okay, so all right, so that's fine. So look, we can both agree that the 2 games coming up are probably the hardest out of those 5 fixtures: West Ham and Liverpool. My gut instincts tells me that against West Ham it will probably be a draw. Against Liverpool, that's going to be a hit or miss. They could beat us. They could be rejuvenated. I mean, they're beating Wolves 1-0 now. They could beat us, but we're playing at the Emirates, and I reckon that the way that Arteta has managed our team against big clubs, there's every chance that we can get 3 points from Liverpool as well. Sheffield United is a 3-pointer for me. Fulham is also a difficult one because Fulham have come out of the blocks and they have started to play some good football. But we are playing at the Emirates. I fancy us to win that, get 3 points. Everton as well. We have every chance of beating them, especially at the Emirates. That's another 3-pointer. So those 5 games, the only 2 tough games that we can't call is West Ham and Liverpool, which is fair. But the other ones are winnable games, right?
Right.
Perfect. All right. So let's have a look at the last 5 games then. The last 5 games, we then go to Newcastle. We're at home to West Brom. We go to Stamford Bridge at Chelsea, go to Selhurst Park at Crystal Palace, and then we finish off our season at the Emirates against Brighton. What do you think?
I think, oh God, again, tough fixtures. I think definitely, no disrespect to the Newcastle fans. You know, I've got Newcastle friends. I think we'll beat Newcastle. I think we'll beat West Brom. That's 6 points there. Chelsea, I mean, we haven't won at the Bridge in ages. And the way Chelsea are playing with Tuchel, I mean, it's very, very unpredictable, you know? I think
but this is the thing with Chelsea. This is the thing with a new manager. You get a new manager, you get that bounce. Inevitably, you're going to get a loss somewhere, and there's going to be a drop in form. I think they're due for a drop in form very, very soon.
They are, but also you got to have to remember the fact that with Chelsea, they've had a squad there that were capable enough to at least push for top 4 through the whole season, even though most of them needed to gel and settle in. But we all know what happened with Frank Lampard, so that was their main issue. And look, since we last played them, and then their manager changed, they've been shooting up the table while we kind of just been differing. On us, obviously, down to our own mistakes as well.
Mm-hmm.
But since they were able to get that bounce and start moving forward, and that's what, funny enough, an experienced manager can do. Where, with us, we've been a little bit shaky at times. And even when you think about it, when Arteta first come in, we didn't exactly get a manager bounce straight away, did we? I think it was what was this? What was Arteta's first win? What, was it Man United at home? I can't remember.
I can't remember.
But I remember. All I can remember was his bounce wasn't straight away. Even when we had Longberg in for a couple games, that bounce we didn't even get a bounce. So Chelsea's going to be a tough one. Palace, another team, funny enough, the local near here. I'm not going to say where I live, but we don't win there either. I mean, when was the last time we won at Selhurst Park? I mean, damn. I mean, if we're able to stop Eze and Zaha, we got a pretty good chance of winning that game.
Palace aren't great though. I have to be honest. I've been watching Palace lately and for the last few weeks, and for me, they look like a team in massively decline. They don't look like
they are. But I just think those two players, if we stop them, we got a good chance. But again, it's how we are after that Chelsea fixture. And, hopefully we're still 100%, players are still 100% fit, etc., etc. We're in a good rhythm, and I think that's what it's down to, momentum, each game. But yeah, Zaha, we got as long as we immobilize them, we have to beat Palace this year. And Brighton, boy, they've been a thorn in our side for a while, haven't they?
Yeah.
I mean, we were able to beat them this season finally. And they've been a little bit up and down this season as well. I think they won their last game, right? I think so.
I can't tell you. I can't remember, but yeah.
No worries. But I don't know. I think we should be able to beat Brighton at home. We should be able to beat them. So
look, we've looked at the last 10 games and we've come to the conclusion that Arsenal have all the ability to beat these teams. And when we come to the big teams like the Chelseas, like the Liverpools, this season, the West Hams, I still have confidence because I believe that Arteta can outsmart the top managers in setting up his team correctly. I mean, you only need to think about, you only need to cast your minds back to the day before the North London derby. Tottenham fans giving all the smack talk about Bale, about Kane, about Son. None of them did anything, and that's because Arteta played tactically set up the team absolutely perfectly. Now, if you remember, I said at the beginning of this that in order to get 65 points, we put a ballpark figure after looking at where Chelsea are and how many points they have, 65 to 69. Arsenal can only afford to lose two games out of 8.
Yeah.
And we concluded that they'll beat Sheffield United, Fulham, potentially Everton, Newcastle, West Brom, Chelsea are a question mark, Crystal Palace are a question mark, Brighton as well. So the only teams we're worried about are Palace, Chelsea, West Ham, and Liverpool. So that's 4 games. Now, if Arsenal turn up on the day like they usually do against the big sides, and they take the points away from them, can you start to see the picture unraveling?
I can, but
I'm getting carried away, innit?
just a wee bit. And the only reason I say a wee bit is because we still have to remember the teams above us as well. They also got to drop points. So the teams, if we can make up and recover as much points as we can, even though I don't personally think we will. I mean, this season's taken a lot out of us. Let's be honest. I mean, yesterday was great. We beat Tottenham and that, but if we'd have beaten Burnley, then I have a lot more faith in your prophecy. Oh, it was that Wolves as well. Wolves, if we didn't get shagged in Wolves, Burnley.
Yeah. Oh, is your thing audio cut off?
I'm back?
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't come in cool. But
it's all right.
Yeah, if we didn't get shagged against Wolves, if we didn't shag ourselves against Burnley, then I think I see where you're coming from, because probably if that was the case, I think we'd just be above Liverpool if that was the case.
Mm.
But I mean, it's so hard to call. I mean, we
Look,
know what we can do on our day, and we just need to cut out our mistakes. If we can cut out our mistakes and not drop many, not just don't drop any points at all, it's going to be hard to
yeah,
win
yeah.
every game, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But if we stay consistent and all the rest of the team start dropping points, potentially they will. Take game by game, get the wins, then yeah, I think we have a small window of getting top 4. But
There's a very, very thin, like slim hoping chance. But I'm gonna show you. I'm quite interested as well to actually look at the other potential contenders to get the 4th spot. So we've had a look at Chelsea, right? Their last few games are ridiculously difficult because they've got West Ham, they've got a derby against Fulham, and Fulham are going to be doing everything to try and stay up. They got Man City, then they got Arsenal and Leicester. The last 3 out of the 4th games, which is Aston Villa away. That's Chelsea. Chelsea, you know, have quite a difficult run, right? Let's have a look at Liverpool. Liverpool next, or the last 9 games, or however many games it is that they've got to play. Right. So Liverpool have us next. No, they don't have us next though, because we've got West Ham next. So after West Ham, they've got us next. Then they got Villa, Leeds, Newcastle, United, which is a big one. Southampton, West Brom, Burnley, and Crystal Palace. So they've probably got an easier run than everyone else.
Well, I don't know. Man United, that will be a tricky one for them. I mean, when I look at the fixtures, yeah, you're right. They got an easier run on paper, but I mean, we've seen some teams beat Liverpool. Let's be honest.
And this is it. This is the thing with Liverpool, because I genuinely do believe that the 12th men, the fans, have such a big impact on Liverpool, especially when they play at home at Anfield. They can't seem to psych themselves up for games at Anfield because they're getting battered left, right, and centre.
But you know what? Also, you have to factor the fact we haven't seen Liverpool play a game with the fans without Van Dijk in a long
they're centre backs, right?
They're centre backs, which you know, like I said, when you look at the centre backs that they bring in, they're bringing a guy that was injured from Preston, and another dude from Schalke. Well, we all know what's going on over there, don't we?
Yeah.
So you know, it's quite difficult, and you know, the thing is with Liverpool, if they start playing their players in the right positions instead of playing Henderson and Fabinho centre back, they can kind of get moving, you know. And like I said, with Jota coming back, is kind of give them an extra kick up the backside. Okay, saying we can kind of recover it this season and try and push for top 4. So you know, when you look at the small details of Liverpool and us, I mean, again, we're gonna have to play like we did against them last season.
It's all hypothetical.
Sorry?
I said it's all hypothetical.
Of course. I mean, that's the only way we can beat them with their heavy metal football, which is this has been called that, you know. And generally, that's it. If we can stop their front 3, and you know, try to cut out Robertson and Trent, we've got a chance of beating them. It's as simple as that. And just retain their attack. If we can retain their attack, we can beat Liverpool. And we've done it before. We've done it twice. So, you know, it is possible, but we'll have to wait and see how we deal with West Ham first, you know?
Yeah.
That's
so West Ham and Liverpool, in order to start believing again, West Ham and Liverpool are the crucial fixtures. Those are the games that Arsenal need to they need to turn up for those games.
Yeah.
But Liverpool have a mammoth task ahead of them, and I don't think Liverpool have it in them to finish top 4. Now the next contender, because we've got there's I would say there is possibly 2 more. So you got Liverpool potentially finish 4th, Chelsea. I would say the last 2 are probably Tottenham and West Ham.
Yeah.
Tottenham and West Ham, right? So let's have a look at Tottenham's fixtures. I don't think they'll finish 4th either, but just for the sake of argument, they've got Villa, Newcastle, United, Everton. They then got a League Cup final against City, which they'll inevitably lose. But then their last 5 fixtures: Sheffield United, Leeds, Wolves, Villa, and then Leicester.
Boy, I mean, their fixtures are not exactly easy, are they? And
It's
they
not.
keep.
No, it's not.
I mean, if they play like they did against us, where they pretty much, sat back and let us win. Well, not let us win. We actually dominated them.
Yeah.
But oh dear, I'm sorry. I'm just remembering what my friend said. But he's a Tottenham fan, by the way. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've been getting all the moans. But to be honest, when you look at Tottenham, I mean Villa, I think they could beat Villa. Newcastle, they beat them. Manchester United, that would be an interesting game.
Trust me. Yeah.
That would be very interesting. I think Man United might come out on top on that one, Everton as well. That could
That's a
go
tough
either
game.
way.
Good for some part.
Even do you know what? Even the League Cup final, I want to know what Mourinho's going to do when it comes to that team as well. I mean, actually, tell you like they got a little bit of time, don't they? 17th of April, 25th. I don't know. And besides, Tottenham do have Man City's bogey team, Let's just hope Man City get the job done. Right?
Yeah.
Let's just hope. But regardless of that, Sheffield, they'll beat them. Leeds, they dealt with them very well this season, so the same could be said. Tottenham and Wolves, that might be a draw. They got Villa again. Ooh. I think they'll deal with Villa. And Leicester, that's going to be a tough one. But Leicester got a lot of injuries as well. I mean, they battered Sheffield.
Last game of the season, though.
Yeah, but
King Power Stadium.
True. That could go either way, That can go either way.
So they don't have the easiest fixture list either.
No, they don't.
And finally, West Ham. This will be the interesting one because I think we can say now, Chelsea have a good few tough games. Tottenham have a good few tough games, and so do what's the other team that we had a look at?
Liverpool,
yeah, Liverpool. But Liverpool have a tough game because of the run of form that they've been on of late. Otherwise, they can beat all of those teams that are ahead of them. But the Liverpool that we've seen of late, they have a fat task to try and get back on top.
That is true.
Yeah. So anyway, West Ham, this is the last potential top 4 candidate and maybe the strongest. But look at their fixture list. They got Arsenal, Wolves, Leicester, Newcastle, Chelsea, Burnley, Everton, Brighton, West Brom, and Southampton. That's tough, man.
That is a tough run. I mean, they were even they dealt with Spurs this season. They got 4 points with Spurs. So anything can happen with this team. I mean, let's see.
And also, another thing to bear in mind, are they going to get fatigued? Because the end of the season, big teams can deal with it because big teams train and they have quality players to get through a full-length season. Whereas teams like West Ham, who aren't used to playing so with this type of intensity, with Champions League qualifications at the back of their minds, and I don't think they've got the squad depth either to see it through. But that could be a potential factor as well. That could see them climb down the league table. But having said that, I haven't seen a more impressive side than West Ham this season in terms of the football and the confidence that they play with.
100%. I mean, they were teetering out of the season last season. If you remember,
they should have beaten. They should have beaten Man City.
Oh yeah, they should have beaten them. I felt they should have beaten Liverpool at Anfield. I felt a few decisions had to just, went the other way. But I've been very, very impressed with West Ham. They've just kept their head down, and they've just been getting on with things, But it's time to see what the irons or the hammers are made of, I mean, potentially, I don't think they'll get Champions League football. Yeah. Potentially Europa League. I think that's probably, if they were going to finish in a decent position, probably be Europa League.
Yeah,
maybe, because I don't know, their fixtures are tough, man.
Trust me.
Us, that might be a draw, but if we turn up, we can beat them. Wolves, oh man, I don't know. Wolves are very expensive. But
I think Wolves have been
very close
to coming back.
Sorry.
Jimenez is very close to coming back as well.
Yeah, but when will Jimenez be back? This is the question. I mean, if he's very close, will he be back for the West Ham game? That's
That's what
the
I'm saying.
question. I think,
Potentially, I don't know. But news is that he's back in training and he's looking
yeah,
like he could make
that's
an
good.
early return.
That's good for him, man. It's good to see him, getting back to things,
Mm,
you know.
mm, mm, mm,
Wolves might be a draw, man. I don't know.
mm,
Leicester, that'll be tough. They'll beat Newcastle. Chelsea, I think they'll lose. Burnley, I think they'll beat Everton. That'll be a draw. Brighton, I think they'll beat West Brom. Southampton, oh, I think they'll draw that as well, actually.
mm.
And is that their last game, Southampton?
Hold on, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? The biggest factor West Ham have over Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, and Tottenham is the fact that we have to play extra games.
Mm,
They can easily pick up a good run. If they beat us, they're good. You know,
mm,
because like I said, the games I think they could win with Newcastle, Burnley, Brighton, West Brom, that'll be enough for them to retain, potentially,
mm.
depending on what's happening with everybody else. But we don't want that, obviously. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be. I think West Ham have definitely got the tougher fixtures out of everyone. When I
Yeah.
think about it. But again, like I said, the extra games, with with the legendary Big Six clubs,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be tough.
Mm,
Which make it easier for them. But if they get any injuries within that
mm,
time, like Souček or Soufal or Lingard or Declan
mm-hmm.
Rice, they might be in trouble. Or even at Antonio, we know he's had injury problems as well.
Yeah.
So if any of those players go missing this season, well, within the remaining games, then I think West Ham are going to start slipping down the table a little bit, you know.
Mm.
But
So that's actually another good question.
mm,
Who having looked at all of the sides, the potential top four contenders, and I'll put Arsenal in there with a bit of tongue in cheek. But with all those top four potential contenders, who do you have from the team with the hardest fixtures to the team with the easiest fixtures? What order would you put them in?
right, well, hardest to low. I'll go from hardest to easiest. I think West Ham. Uh, West Ham definitely got the hardest fixtures. I
Mm,
think. Um, then I'll probably say, maybe us actually. I'll probably say
mm.
West Ham, Arsenal, Liverpool, then Chelsea.
Mm.
That's the order from easiest, from hardest to easiest. That's
You
just
think
my
Chelsea
personal
have an
opinion.
easier fixture list than Liverpool?
I think they kind of do, the way they kind
Mm,
of playing right now and the way Tuchel's got them settled. I think they kind of do in
mm.
games where I think they can pick up more points than Liverpool. Yeah, I do because
I,
again, Liverpool are kind of trying to get back into their ways,
yeah,
you know. And like I said, the way Tuchel's got Chelsea playing right now, I mean, hell,
yeah,
even when we play them, I don't know what's going to happen there.
mm,
We don't know how to call that.
yeah. The thing
But
with
you look at
Chelsea, right? I don't know.
specifics. Yeah,
I don't know what it is with Chelsea, but there's something that just tells me in the back of my head that they are gonna start dropping points because I've watched Chelsea under Tuchel, and I think the one thing that he's done that Lampard's failed to do is organize them and structure them a little bit.
100%.
Players know their roles, but I don't know whether they have the right balance in their squad. I don't know if Timo Werner's good enough. I don't think Havertz is good enough. I don't know if Ziyech has quite hit his best form. I mean, ever since he's come to Chelsea, I don't think we've seen the best of Ziyech. So is he compatible for the Premier League? They've got players like Tammy Abraham, who is, I
He
mean,
defines a
Olivier
lot of
Giroud.
opinion. He defines a
Yeah,
lot of opinion.
Olivier Giroud and Tammy Abraham are probably their best strikers.
I lean more to
They
Giroud, to be honest. But
Yeah,
yeah.
Giroud, yeah. And so when I look at their squad, I see superstar names,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know whether they gel together. I don't know whether they've fully made the transition into the Premier League, and I don't know whether we've seen a dominant Chelsea performance as of yet.
Nah, I mean, dominant performance. I
As in,
mean,
like, you watch Chelsea, as in, like, you watch Arsenal yesterday against Tottenham. You know, Arsenal absolutely smashed Tottenham out of the park. It should have been 3 or 4. 2-1
yeah.
was a flattering result for them. But it's like with Chelsea, I can't remember under Tuchel seeing a game where they've been phenomenal. They've outplayed their opponent in every single department.
Well, there was one game I looked at them and I felt
Let me have a look.
they
Let
could
me
have
put up
got
the
more
results.
goals. I think it was the Wolves game. I think it might have been his first game. They were excellent in that game, to be honest. I can't remember the score. I think they either won and they drew. But that game
Yeah, so look,
looked
they beat
like,
Liverpool, but
yep,
Liverpool woeful. They beat Everton.
yep,
I don't think they played amazingly well against Everton. I think they did tactically really, really well against Atletico Madrid. A ball draw
yeah,
against United.
yeah. Well, we all
I
know
mean,
what
looking at
happened
the
with that.
results, like 1-0 against Tottenham, 2-0 against Burnley. I mean, they're good results. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking
Mm,
anything off Chelsea, but I just don't see Chelsea at 100% strength. And maybe that's me being a little bit overly naive, and maybe we will see it nearing the end of the season. But if there's
yeah,
one thing I know about Chelsea, and one thing that's part of their history, is they get a new manager, they get that bounce, and then they start to drop off and the problems start to come in, and then they start to spend money in the transfer window and it doesn't work. The players don't gel, and this is the problem with Chelsea. They
yeah,
don't
really
have a
does.
long-term project. They've got a
Nah,
6 to 12 month project that works in a
yep,
season. They might win the odd FA Cup. They might win. They might have a good season where they finish 3rd or 4th, but they don't have anything long term planned. So that's the only thing that I worry about Chelsea. But I think you're right. I think, bearing all the other teams in mind and all the other top 4 contenders, they'll probably beat Villa. They'll probably get a result at Leicester. City, they might lose to. That will be a big game against Arsenal. Fulham will also be a big game, but it's at the
I think
Bridge.
it's Chelsea's to win. You know,
Yeah,
Fulham.
yeah.
No disrespect to Fulham. I actually like Fulham, to be honest.
Mm,
But
mm,
I think Chelsea will win that, man. They got the better players, regardless of how Fulham are playing very well lately. It's just, and obviously, yeah, West Ham, that'll be an interesting one.
mm, mm.
And
They've
yeah,
got 3 London derbies in the middle of playing Man City as well. So it's gonna
mm,
be interesting. Do you know what I mean? And look,
yep,
no, what am I saying? They've got 4 London derbies. They've got Palace, then they
West
got
Ham,
Brighton,
Fulham. Oh yeah, they do. Fulham, West Ham. Oh God, wow.
Arsenal, and then Crystal Palace.
Arsenal, Palace, yeah.
And the psychology of playing a London derby. I mean, Palace and Chelsea might not be a big one, but Arsenal, Chelsea, Fulham, Chelsea, and even West Ham, Chelsea are big London derby games.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Mm,
It's definitely a big one, and I know how much. And I got a mate that supports West Ham, and I know how much he wants to beat Chelsea.
yeah,
So yeah. I mean, you don't represent the whole fan base, but I know a lot
yeah.
of West Ham fans want to beat Chelsea. You
Mm,
know, I can understand that definitely, but I mean, again, when you look at their fixture list, they got some very winnable games on there.
yeah,
I think our game, City, maybe West Ham as well, will be tight ones. Fulham,
yeah.
I'm not. I think they'll win that. Palace, I think they win that. They got quality in their team.
Mm,
That's the one
mm,
thing with Chelsea. It's just, yeah, like you said. I mean, you're waiting for Chelsea to drop point, and funny enough, before the Southampton game, I'm pretty sure Southampton was the first team to score past them because Chelsea were not conceding
mm.
any goals even before them.
I mean, they did drop points on the weekend against Leeds. They drew 0-0, didn't they?
Yeah, they
Um,
did.
so that might be the beginning. Who knows? It's gonna
Who
be. Look,
knows? And
I'm
they
gonna
got
remove.
lucky because Leeds, whoa, they could
Yeah.
have, they could have nicked that. They could
Mm.
have, you know.
Yeah. I'm gonna remove the screen and bring us back to life, back to reality, because I think we're getting a bit lost in the
You get
getting
lost,
lost
yeah,
in
we
the
get lost in
moment.
the table.
Yeah, getting lost in the moment. But look, this has been it's been a very good video so far. I'm gonna conclude it now. Uh, I think we've pretty much touched on more than I was hoping to in terms of this can we finish top four conversation. And I know it's a ridiculous conversation to have, but I'm hoping that now that I've broken it down, I'm hoping that you can see the potential in how it might be possible, because all the teams around us, above us, do have hard fixtures coming up. It's not like they're going through a hot run of games. And this is another thing. If COVID has shown us one thing, is that there is no such thing as form. No one has form in the Premier League this season, other than Man City. Nothing is guaranteed. And that's something that I'm holding very, very close to my chest, and I'm hoping that teams above us will drop points. So I'm gonna ask you the question, but before I ask you, I'm gonna answer the question myself. Can we still finish top four? I believe that Arsenal Football Club can finish top four if they don't shoot themselves in the foot, and that's a massive if. That's a massive if.
Yep.
What about you?
Big. Oh my god. I've said it all season, and look, I want to be wrong. I can't see us doing it. I think the highest potentially we can get is probably creep into 7th. You know, but I don't. I think we've dropped too many points. I think we dropped too many points to even say top 4 is a shout. I think the window's kind of closed on that. But I want to be wrong. I will leave it as that. I want to be wrong, but I think I don't think we can do it.
Look, Ryan, I think you might be right. I think the optimistic Arsenal fan in me is obviously telling me otherwise, but that's why we have realistic fans like you. So you're probably right. Most likely case, we will potentially finish 7th, but in the last few performances that I've seen has told me otherwise, and I've made the same mistake, and I'm continuing to make the same mistake, and I will continue to make the same mistake until this season is over. I remember before we played Burnley, I was getting carried away as well, saying, you know what, Arsenal are getting reinvigorated. Ever since the Wolves game, we got robbed. We shouldn't have lost that game, but we're coming up and we could potentially finish 4th. And I'm saying the same thing now again after seeing that Spurs result and the chaos. So look, we go.
It happens.
Yeah,
as an Arsenal fan. It just
that's Arsenal for you, isn't it?
When you see a really, because you know what it is. Yeah, I'll quickly say this. Sorry to jump in like that.
Oh, go on.
But the thing is with Arsenal, it's the hope that kills you. We all know that. We've been saying that for years. But we know this team on their day can do something. Listen, we've seen it before. We've seen us beat the top 6 clubs. Yeah, in like in all comps. Let's think about it. We beat Liverpool at home. We're beating them in the Community Shield. We're beating Chelsea at home. We're beating Manchester United at Old Trafford this season. I'm shocked. Do you know what I mean? And they haven't beaten us at the Emirates for quite a while now. Let's hope that turns into something, by the way. Tottenham, like, come on, that's good. I think we beat Man City in the cup on the way to the cup final. So I mean, there's some clear things there. We've even beaten Leicester. Not Everton, sorry. We've beaten Leicester. We've beaten some really, really good teams. But for me, it's just consistency. It's about the players' mentality. Like, I know that slowly they're getting out the Wenger stuff out of the weakness. But like I said at the beginning of this video, with the manager, he needs to prove me wrong. And on top of that, the board need to support him. If he's going to be here long term, and they still back him, and they want him here, even if we win or lose Europa, right? And that's going to send a lot of fans over the edge if we lose that. Let's be real. But they need to support him. Because what we got right now is a base. If we're trying to create the perfect pizza, we gotta have the best toppings. And right now we ain't got much. That's the best way I can explain it. So if we're trying to sell it to all the Arsenal fans, instead of selling bloody training kits all off the losses and that pisses me off. I mean, they're lovely kits, but no, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. I made a mistake with the home kit, as you can see behind me. Yeah. I made that mistake in last season, Oh my goodness. No, the season before that, sorry. But yeah, that's just what it is, But, like I said, any given day we can do teams. We just need to get serious, cut the crap in the mistakes. Everyone stay fit and push. But we got to take one game at a time, man. That's where I'm at with this Arsenal side. 100%.
That's it. I mean, that's it really. Take it one game at a time. And like you said, if there's one thing that has been a constant with Arsenal throughout the last 10 years, even since Wenger's been in charge, on our day, we can beat absolutely anyone. And I think that is the biggest frustrating thing about being an Arsenal fan is the boys have it in them, but they do it to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that makes it even more harder to predict the end of the season. But look, we're coming to the end of the season. There's 10 games to go. I guess we're just gonna have to let it unfold and come back to this video at the end of the season to see,
we'll be back. Don't worry, we'll be back
to see how badly we might have got it wrong or how surprisingly right we got it. Look, I'm gonna leave it there. Ryan, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a really, really fruitful discussion. I've really enjoyed it more than I thought I would, because I thought, having a conversation about finishing top 4 would be depressing and it would be a little bit far-fetched, but it's been good. It's been really, really nice to try and look into the future and see what we need to do, what we've got coming. Also, clubs around us as well, what they've got as well. So look, thanks a lot once again for coming on. You guys can find Ryan on Twitter at J Ray Wills and
RJ Wills.
RJ Wills. Sorry, my eyes are blurry because I got the right RJ Wills. And on YouTube, Ryan Williams AFC. He releases content. He's a massive gooner. And as you guys saw, someone with some really level-headed opinions and views and someone worth listening to. So, Ryan, thanks a lot. Thanks for coming on. And definitely we're going to do this again.
Man. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me on, man. Like I said, I love the show. I love your content. I appreciate you bringing me on, man. Anytime you need me, I'm here.
Anytime. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end it there. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please do give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and do subscribe to Ryan's. I'm going to link it below in the description. And I will be back tomorrow. We'll be looking ahead to the Olympiacos game. I will be putting out a video, hopefully a Mikel Arteta press conference leading up to Thursday, which is going to be another very important game because we haven't done it yet. We're not past the finish line. We've seen it happen time and time again. Olympiacos can do an absolute madness, hoping that they won't. But yeah, it's going to be all interesting and we're all going to see it unfold. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.